The sun sat low over Los Angeles as dignitaries, family, friends, and fans gathered for what would be one of the most somber and emotional ceremonies in Hollywood's recent memory. Inside the funeral chapel, rows of chairs filled with actors, directors, collaborators, and loved ones, many wearing black, many struggling to contain their grief. Photographs lined the front, images capturing a life lived in laughter, in art, in family, and in storytelling. And yet, underneath that reverence lay an overwhelming sense of shock. For just days before, the world had learned that Rob Reiner, the acclaimed actor and director whose career spanned generations, and his beloved wife Michelle Singer Reiner, photographer, producer, and his partner of more than 3 decades, had both been found brutally killed in their Los Angeles home. The news rippled through the industry and across the world, creating an outpouring of grief that transcended generations and genres. Moments before the service began, the atmosphere was thick with quiet conversations about Reiner's legacy, his iconic roles, his groundbreaking work behind the camera, All in the Family, This Is Spinal Tap, Stand By Me, When Harry Met Sally, and more. And about Michelle's own influence on his life and work, including her role in inspiring the famous happy ending to When Harry Met Sally, when they met on that set in 1989. The chapel doors opened, and a hush fell as family members took their seats at the front, including his children, Romy, Jake, Tracy, and the siblings, who had shared their lives with one of Hollywood's most beloved figures. Among those seated was Sally Struthers, the actress who had once stood beside Reiner for nearly a decade on All in the Family as Gloria Steivik, his on-screen wife and an emblematic character of classic television. Her presence in that room was a reminder of how Reiner's work touched not only audiences, but personal hearts and lifelong friendships. When it was her turn to speak, the room leaned in, some guests wiping tears as they anticipated what she might say. Struthers stood at the podium with a simple grace, her voice steady but laden with emotion as she began her tribute. She didn't launch into a recounting of films or awards. She spoke instead of the man she knew, the colleague who had shaped her early career, and the friend she had shared moments with both on and off screen. In her statement to the press after his death, she had called the news beyond devastating, and that heartbreak was palpable in her words that day. Struthers recalled the early days on All in the Family, when they both stepped into roles that would redefine television. She spoke of how Reiner was not just a co-star but a thoughtful collaborator, offering an unforgettable piece of wisdom that stayed with her throughout her life. A philosophy about performance and generosity that he once shared with her. If you can make the show itself more important than your own part, you will wind up offering to give up some of your lines. It was a lesson she said helped shape her entire approach to her craft. She smiled through tears as she recalled small human moments. The jokes he would make off camera, the way he would call her up just to start with a laugh and then hang up. Her voice broke as she recounted how those calls and those memories became precious over time, a testament to the way he valued connection, humor, and the simple joy of working closely with others. But even as she shared laughter and sorrow in the same breath, Struthers did not shy away from acknowledging the unimaginable pain of the moment. "There are no words," she said, echoing the statement she had given when the world first heard of his death. "This is beyond devastating, and my heart is with their family." Those words echoed in the chapel as attendees leaned forward, many dabbing at their eyes, recognizing that the loss they felt was both personal and collective. Throughout her tribute, she reminded everyone of Reiner's brilliance not just as a performer or director, but as someone whose influence went far beyond film sets. She spoke of his warmth, his generosity, and his capacity to make everyone around him feel seen and appreciated. And though her voice occasionally trembled, her message was clear. Rob Reiner wasn't just a legend on screen. He was a legend in the lives he touched. As Struthers stepped away from the podium, other tributes followed. Friends and collaborators spoke of Reiner's boundless creativity and openness, how he made actors better and made writers feel heard, how he approached every project with a generosity of spirit that defined not just his films, but his humanity. Many spoke of Michelle as well, as an equal partner in their shared life, deeply devoted to family, activism, and the world beyond cameras and scripts. The funeral was also a place of collective mourning for an industry still reeling from the tragic nature of their deaths, and a reminder of the legacy that remains. Friends like Billy Crystal and Albert Brooks released moving statements shortly after the couple's passing, honoring them as a special force together, dynamic, unselfish, and inspiring, a reflection that resonated deeply with those in attendance. In it was quoted a timeless line from It's a Wonderful Life. Each man's life touches so many other lives, and when he isn't around, he leaves an awful hole, doesn't he? Reminding everyone why the ceremony was as much a celebration of life as it was an expression of grief. As the service drew to a close, Sally Struthers was among those who stood, clapping softly, an embodiment of the many ties that bound Reiner to the lives of those he'd worked with, laughed with, and inspired. The crowd rose with her, many holding hands, others wiping tears, sharing in a moment of collective reflection on what had been lost and what would still endure. And in that chapel, under the bright lights and dimmed windows alike, it became clear. Rob Reiner's legacy was not just in the films he directed, the characters he embodied, or the stories he told. It was in the way he lived them, and the way he reminded those around him, through art, advice, laughter, and love, that life is as much about connection as it is about creativity. If you want more deep dives into the moments and memories behind your favorite legends, make sure you subscribe to the channel now so you never miss a heartfelt story told with respect and truth.